Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Rivera, I believe, down here, sir. I believe I may be unique on this committee, at least I hope that I am, because it's not something I would wish on anybody, but I've actually participated in the Disaster Assistance Relief Program. I showed up at work about 6 months after I had started my own business one morning to find my office furniture floating in the front yard. We had been through a flood, and I was able to get a disaster relief loan from the SBA, and my experience was actually quite good. It was extraordinarily helpful. It was one of the reasons I was interested in participating in this committee when I got here, was because it was a pretty good experience for me. But as I was going over and preparing for this meeting, I tried to remember how I found out about the program. And it occurred to me that I found out through my insurance agent. And one of the things, Ms. Chu and I were just in her district on our subcommittee. One of the things we heard when we were out in California was that the lack of information about SBA programs. A few people knew what the SBA had to offer. And if it hadn't been for that particularly astute insurance agent that I had, I probably never would have found out about the program. So tell me, sir, what it is that you all are doing generally. What are you doing specifically? How are you making information about disaster relief programs and assistance available to the public?
Thank you, Congressman. We've taken a very aggressive marketing and outreach program. I mean, internally, within the SBA has the opportunity. We have an online disaster toolkit for all the SBA employees. So when a disaster strikes, we make sure that all of our employees in the district offices and the centers know what they need to do. We've also provided media training for all regional administrators, district directors, public information officers. Externally, though, what we've done is we've worked with the National League of Cities on emergency training. We actually partnered in 40-plus courses across the country for crisis leadership for local officials. And we've actually set up some really awesome partnerships. For example, we have Agility Recovery Solutions. We've had 15 monthly webinars over the last 15 months. That provides an educational tool for small businesses. PrepareMyBusiness.org is the website. We've also partnered with the American Red Cross and started talking about their Ready rating system to homeowners and to businesses. And we also partner with FEMA and provide the information as far as what SBA does. Branding is a challenge. I mean, there's no doubt about it. When we get into a disaster area, we actually go and we meet with the state officials, the local officials, the congressional delegation. We try to get as much information out as we possibly can. We do public service PSAs in all the disaster-impacted areas. So we continue to send public information officers in the different areas and try to get the word out as best as we can.
Tell me about these partnerships, because one of the things that one of the subcommittees of this committee deal with, the one that I chair, deals a lot with outsourcing versus insourcing, opportunities that the government has to outsource things. You mentioned the webinars. You mentioned the website. That's my understanding that that's a partnership with a private entity?
Yes, Agility Recovery Solutions is a small business.
Tell me how that's working out. Tell me how you measure success. Do you consider it to be a success? What are the metrics? How many visits are you getting? Do you get the impression that it's actually having an impact?
I really do think we're having a pretty significant impact. On the monthly webinars, I did one not too long ago. The title is a little bit interesting. My mom was really excited about it. It was about the 10 Commandments of Disaster Preparedness. I'm not sure how we came up with the 10 Commandments, but anyways, we had about 800 people that actually got on the webinar and participated in the webinar. So, it's 800 more businesses, I hope, that hear about SBA, and that's a big challenge that we've been discussing with GAO and Bill Scheer over the years is how do we get as much information out as we possibly can. I go to a lot of lending conferences. I go to a lot of different types of conferences. Most individuals really don't want to hear about disaster until they've had one. And they really get it once they're in a disaster. They, okay, what do I need to do now? And that's why the Ready rating system and the Agility Recovery Solutions, those are just fabulous partners because they're talking about what you need to do to prepare. You may still have that disaster, but if you have the ability to be prepared, it makes that disaster process, you can go back to your muscle memory and figure out, well, this is what I need to do instead of being in panic stage and not being able to help yourself through the disaster.
Well, I'm going to commend your group, the administration, because we've actually done a good bit of work in South Carolina. The local office has reached out to me. We've toured my district to put on presentations on how to start, not only start your small business, but after you've started it, what you need to do, and they actually have a list of things that you can do or you should do when things are pretty good, because the time to prepare for a disaster, obviously not the day after that you experience one. So to the extent sometimes it's no fun to come down and testify before these committees, I want to thank you for what you folks are doing in this particular area, and with that I yield back. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.